Hi, this is Ellen Silva from Ellen Silva Designs. Today I'd like to illustrate a stitch for you from the wonderful book by Hitomi Shida, The Japanese Knitting Stitch Bible. The stitch that I'd like to show you is called the 5-stitch bobble from 3 rows below. It's a wonderfully simple way of working a bobble, and I love the little bud-like design that results. I've been working this stitch in the round. You'll notice that this swatch is flat, but I'm going to show it to you as though we are actually working it in the round. The stitch occurs over a single column of stitches. On this piece, I'm going to place it in the center of these 2 rows of twisted stitches. So it'll be right on this, worked on the center stitch, right in this column of stitches. First, let's get up to that stitch. I'll work my way across my little swatch and we'll get all set to go. Now, the interesting thing about this swatch is, though it may not have looked like it, I've actually worked the first 3 rounds of the stitch. That's because the first 3 rounds of the stitch are simply purl stitches. Now here I am at that center stitch, and you can see, yep, 1, 2, 3 purls right in a row, or right in a column, and now I'm ready to work the 4th round of the stitch. To do this, I put my yarn in back, and then I'll count down 1, 2, 3 rounds and go right into the center of the stitch 3 rounds below, hence the name. I'll draw up a loop, make a yarn over, go back down into that same hole, draw up another loop, yarn over, go back down into that same hole, and draw up 1 more loop. 5 stitches, 5-stitch bobble, 3 rounds below, that's what we're working. And now I can bring my yarn forward, drop the stitch that I've been working underneath 3 rounds below, and continue on with my round. Now, as I said, we're going to work this as though we're working the round. To do that, I'll need to slip my swatch to the other end of my circular needle, and I'll be all ready. It's as though I've come around, and I'm getting ready to work the stitch again. So let's work our way over to it. Oops. I'm working a little 3-stitch broken rib selvage here. It's a nice selvage treatment for a swatch in case you don't want those ends to curl up. I'll work my column of twisted stitches, my 2 purl stitches that lead up to the bobble, and now it's super simple. All I'm going to do is knit my way across the 5 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and continue again all the way around. Thanks for playing along with me on this pretend game of not really knitting in the round. It's actually working up a little bit faster this way for all of us. Again with that broken rib selvage, and I pull my needle through so we can pretend that we're working in the round. Here's where the 5th round of the, the 6th round of the stitch is worked, and it will all come together into a lovely little bobble. I'll work my way across. Note that this is also how you would work a swatch in the round. I'm keeping long loops in the back that won't constrict the width of the swatch, but it lets me pretend that I'm working in the round. And here I am at the stitch. Here's where working with really sharp needles will pay off. Putting the yarn in back, I am entering the first 3 stitches all at once as if to knit, and slipping them off the needle. Now I'm going to knit together the last 2 stitches, and then all I need to do is slip those 3 stitches that I originally slipped over the stitch I just made. Sometimes you can grab all three at once, sometimes you have to do them one at a time, but you can make it work. And then I'll continue across the round and we'll take a look at what we've got here. And ta-da, there is our nice little bobble. The 5-stitch bobble, 3 rounds below. It works up very simply, no flipping and flopping of your fabric back and forth to work a bobble. I think it's a very attractive, a little bit lower profile than perhaps a traditional bobble that you might be used to, and I actually like that very much. Hope you enjoyed learning how to work this stitch, and happy knitting!